EidGaah. After a full 30 days of Ramadan, Eid has arrived. What a charming, pleasant dawn it is. There's a peculiar lushness on the trees, a strange vibrance in the fields, an unusual redness in the sky. Look at today's sun, how lovely, how cool it is, as if it's offering Eid greetings to the world. The village is bustling. Preparations to go to the EidGaah are underway. Someone's kurta is missing buttons, and they rush to borrow a needle and thread from the neighbor. Someone's shoes have hardened, so they dash to the oilman's house to oil them. Quickly feed the oxen water and fodder. By the time we return from the EidGaah, it will be afternoon. A 3-course walk on foot, then meeting hundreds of people. Returning before noon is impossible. The boys are the most delighted. Some have kept the fast only till noon, and some not even that, but the joy of going to the EidGaah is theirs. Fasts are for the elders. For them, it's Eid. They've been reciting the name of Eid every day. Today it has arrived. Now there's an urgency for people to start moving to the EidGaah. What do they care for household worries? Whether there is milk and sugar for vermicelli at home is none of their concern. They will eat the vermicelli. How would they know why their father is frantically running to Chaudhary Qayum Ali's house? They are unaware that if Chaudhary changes his mood today, the entire Eid could turn into mourning. Their pockets are filled with the wealth of Kubera. They keep pulling out their treasure from their pockets, counting it, and being happy with it. Mahmood counts 1, 2, 10, 12. He has 12 paise. Mohsin has 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 15 paise. With these countless coins, they will buy countless things, toys, sweets, trumpets, balls, and who knows what else. And Hamid is the happiest of all. He is a poor, thin boy of 4 or 5, whose father died of cholera last year and whose mother, for some unknown reason, turned yellow and died one day. No one knew what illness she had. Who was there to listen? She bore what was in her heart, and when she could bear no more, she left this world. Now, Hamid sleeps in his elderly grandmother Amina's lap, just as happy. His father has gone to earn money. He will come back with many pouches. His mother has gone to Allah's house to bring back many wonderful things for him, so Hamid is happy. Hope is a big thing, and even bigger are the hopes of children. Their imagination turns a mustard seed into a mountain. Hamid has no shoes, a worn cap on his head, the border of which has turned black, but still, he is happy. When his father returns with pouches and his mother with blessings, he will fulfill the desires of his heart. Then let's see where Mahmood, Mohsin, Noor, and Sami will bring out so much money from. Poor Amina is sitting in her room crying. Would Eid have come and gone like this if Abid was still here? She is sinking into darkness and despair. Who invited this wretched Eid? It has no business in this house, but Hamid. What does he care if someone lives or dies? There is light within him, and hope outside. Even if calamity brings its entire force, Hamid's joyful gaze will destroy it. Hamid goes inside and says to his grandmother, "Don't be afraid, Amma, I'll go first." Don't be afraid at all. Amina's heart is tormented. Children in the village are going with their fathers. Who does Hamid have besides Amina? How can she let him go alone to the fair? What if the child gets lost in that crowd? No, Amina won't let him go like this. Such a tiny soul, how will he walk 3 kilometers? His feet will blister. He doesn't even have shoes. She will carry him a little distance at a time, but then who will cook the vermicelli here? If there were money, she would gather all the ingredients by the time they returned and quickly make it. Here, it will take hours to gather things. She can only rely on what's given. The other day she stitched clothes for Fahiman. She received 8 annas then. She had been saving that half-rupee like a token of faith for this Eid. But what could she do when the milkmaid came demanding it yesterday? If there's nothing for Hamid, at least he needs 2 paise worth of milk. Now only 2 annas remain. 3 paise in Hamid's pocket, 5 in Amina's purse. That's all they have, and it's Eid festival. May Allah see them through. The washerwoman, the barber's wife, the sweeper's wife, and the bangle seller, they all will come. They all want vermicelli, and a little doesn't suffice anyone. How will she await them all? And why should she await? It's a festival that comes once a year. May life pass in safety, their destiny is also tied with it. May God keep the child safe, these days too shall pass. The village procession moved, and along with other children, Hamid was also going. Sometimes they all ran ahead, then they'd wait under a tree for those lagging behind. Why are these people walking so slowly? It's as if Hamid has wings on his feet. He could never get tired. They reached the outskirts of the city. On both sides of the road are the gardens of the wealthy, surrounded by solid walls. Mangoes and lychees hang from the trees. Sometimes a boy picks up a stone to aim at the mangoes. The gardener comes out cursing from inside. The boys are a furlong away, laughing heartily. What a fool they made of the gardener. Large buildings started appearing. This is a court, this is a college, this is a clubhouse. How many students must be studying in such a big college? Not all are students. There are grown men, truly. They have big mustaches, grown so big and still studying. Who knows how long they will study and what they will do after studying so much? In Hamid's school, there are 2-3 big boys, utterly useless, beaten every day, shirkers of work. It must be the same here, what else? In the clubhouse, magic happens, skulls of the dead move around, and big shows are performed, but they don't let anyone inside. And here in the evenings, the Sahib people play. Grown men play, those with mustaches and beards, and even the ladies play, truly. If you give that to our mother, what's it called, a bat? She couldn't even hold it. She'd topple over just by swinging it. Mahmood said, our Amian's hands have started trembling, I swear by Allah. Mohsin said, let's go, they grind tons of flour. Just holding a bat will make their hands tremble. They draw hundreds of pitchers of water daily. My buffalo drinks 5 pitchers alone. If any lady had to draw a pitcher of water, darkness would fall before her eyes. Mahmood said, but they don't run, they can't jump around. Mohsin said, yes, they can't jump around, but the other day my cow got loose and went into Chaudhry's field, and Amma ran so fast I couldn't catch her, truly. They moved on. The confectioners' shops began. Today they were beautifully decorated. Who eats so many sweets? Look, there must be tons at each shop. I've heard that jinn come at night and buy them. Father used to say that at midnight a man goes to each shop and weighs whatever is left and really pays with real money, just like these coins. Hamid didn't believe it. Where would jinn get such coins? Mohsin said, what shortage of money do jinn have? They can go into any treasury they like. Even iron doors can't stop them. Sir, what are you caught up in? They even have diamonds and jewels. Whoever they are pleased with, they give baskets of jewels. We are sitting here, in 5 minutes they could reach Kolkata. Hamid asked again, jinn must be very big? Mohsin said, each one is as big as the sky. If one stood on the earth, its head would touch the sky, but if it wanted, it could squeeze into a pot. Hamid asked, how do people please them? If someone taught me the spell, I'd please a jinn. Mohsin said, I don't know that, but Chaudhry Sahib has many jinn under his control. If something gets stolen, Chaudhry Sahib will find out where it is and even tell the name of the thief. Jumrati's calf was lost that day. We were troubled for 3 days. It wasn't found anywhere. Then in desperation we went to Chaudhry. He immediately told us it was in the cattle shed, and there it was found. Jinn comes and tells him all the news of the world. Now he understood why Chaudhry has so much money, and why he is so respected. They moved on. This is the police line. Here all the constables train. Attention, forward march. At night, these poor fellows roam around on patrol, otherwise thefts would happen. Mohsin protested, these constables patrol? You know so much. Dear sir, these are the ones who orchestrate thefts. All the thieves and dacoits in the city are in league with them. At night, they tell the thieves to steal, and you go to another neighborhood and stay awake. Stay awake, they shout. That's why these people have so much money. My uncle is a constable at a station. He earns 20 rupees a month, but he sends 50 rupees home. I swear by Allah, I once asked him, Uncle, where do you get so much money from? He laughed and said, Son, Allah gives it. Then he himself said, if we wanted, we could make lakhs in a day. We just take as much as doesn't tarnish our reputation and doesn't cost us our jobs. Hamid asked, these people orchestrate thefts, doesn't anyone catch them? Mohsin, showing pity for his naivety, said, oh, you fool, who will catch them? The catchers are these people themselves. But Allah also punishes them well. The ill-gotten wealth goes to waste. Just a few days ago, a fire broke out in my uncle's house. All his savings burned down. Not a single utensil was saved. They slept under a tree for several days, I swear, under a tree. Then somehow he borrowed 100 rupees, and then utensils came back. Hamid said, 100 is more than 50. Mohsin said, where is 50, where is 100? 50 fits in one pouch. 100 wouldn't fit even in 2 pouches. Now the settlement was getting dense. Groups heading to the EidGaah started appearing. Everyone wearing flashy clothes, some riding in horse-drawn carts, some in cars, all drenched in perfume, all hearts filled with excitement. The small group of villagers, unaware of their own poverty, moved on contented and patient. Everything in the city was novel for the children. Whatever they looked at, they kept staring at. And even with the continuous sound of horns behind them, they didn't pay heed. Hamid narrowly escaped being run over by a car. Suddenly, the EidGaah came into view. Above, the dense shade of tamarind trees. Below, a solid floor where mats were spread, and rows of those fasting stretched back as far as one could see, to beneath the solid boundary where no mats lay. Newcomers would come and stand in the back row. There was no space ahead. Here, no one cared for wealth or status. In the eyes of Islam, everyone is equal. These villagers also performed the ablution and stood in the last row. What beautiful coordination, what a beautiful arrangement. Millions of heads bowed down together in prostration, then all stood up together, bowed together, and all sat down on their knees together. This action was repeated several times, like millions of lights turning on and off together, and this sequence continued. What an extraordinary scene it was, whose collective actions, expansiveness, and infinity filled the heart with reverence, pride, and bliss. It seemed like a thread of brotherhood was threading all these souls together in a single strand. The prayer ended, and people began embracing each other. Then there was a rush to the shops selling sweets and toys. The villagers were no less enthusiastic about this than the children. Look, there is a swing. Pay a paisa and ride. Sometimes it would seem like you were flying to the sky, sometimes falling to the ground. This is a merry-go-round, wooden elephants, horses, camels hanging from poles. Pay a paisa, sit down, and enjoy 25 rounds. Mahmood, Mohsin, Noor, and Sami sat on these horses and camels. Hamid stood at a distance. He had only 3 paise. He couldn't spend a third of his treasury just for a small ride. Everyone got off the merry-go-rounds. Now they'll buy toys. Here, rows of shops are lined up. All sorts of toys are available. Soldiers and milkmaids, kings and lawyers, water carriers and washerwomen, and saints. Wow, what beautiful toys they are. They seem almost ready to speak. Mahmood buys a soldier, dressed in khaki uniform and a red turban, a rifle resting on his shoulder, looking as if he's just coming from a drill. Mohsin likes the water carrier. His waist is bent, a water skin rests on top, he's holding the mouth of the skin with one hand. How happy he looks. He's probably singing a song. He's just about to sprinkle water from the skin. Noor loves the lawyer. What wisdom on his face. A black robe, a white coat underneath, a watch in the pocket on the front of the coat, a golden chain, one hand holding a book of law. It seems like he's just coming from a court debate or discussion. These are all toys costing 2 paise each. Hamid has only 3 paise. How can he buy such expensive toys? If a toy slips from the hand, it will shatter. What will he do with such toys? What use are they? Mohsin says, my water carrier will deliver water daily, morning and evening. Mahmood said, and my soldier will guard the house. If a thief comes, he'll immediately aim and shoot. Noor said, and my lawyer will fight cases brilliantly. Sami said, and my washerwoman will wash clothes daily. Hamid criticizes the toys. They're only made of clay, they'll shatter if they fall, but his eyes are greedily watching the toys, and he wishes he could hold them for a moment. His hands instinctively reach out, but the boys aren't so generous, especially when they've just acquired a new interest. Hamid remains desirous. After the toys come the sweets. Someone has bought sesame sweets, someone rose-flavored dumplings, someone sohan halwa. They're eating with pleasure. Hamid is apart from his peers. The poor boy has only 3 paise. Why doesn't he buy something to eat? He looks enviously at everyone. Mohsin says, Hamid, take some sesame sweets, they smell so good. Hamid doubts it, this is just cruel jest. Mohsin isn't that generous, but knowing this, he still goes over. Mohsin takes a sweet out of the bowl and extends it towards Hamid. Hamid reaches out his hand. Mohsin pops the sweet in his own mouth. Mahmood, Noor, and Sami clap and laugh heartily. Hamid feels embarrassed. Mohsin said, okay, next time we'll definitely give it to Hamid. I swear by Allah, take it. Hamid said, keep it. Don't I have money? Sami said, you only have 3 paise. What all will you buy with 3 paise? Mahmood said, take rose-flavored dumplings from us, Hamid. Mohsin is a scoundrel. Hamid said, what great blessing is a sweet. How many evils are written about it in the book. Mohsin said, but in your heart, you're thinking, if you get them, you'll eat them. Why don't you take out your own money? Mahmood said, we understand his cleverness. When all our money is spent, he'll tease us and eat it. After the sweets, some shops of iron items started. Some gilt and some fake jewels. There was no attraction here for the boys. They moved ahead. Hamid stopped at the iron shop. Several tongs were laid out. He thought, Granny doesn't have tongs. When she takes rotis off the griddle, her hands burn. If he bought the tongs and gave them to Granny, how pleased she would be. Then her fingers would never burn again. There would be one useful thing in the house. What's the use of toys? They're just a waste of money. The joy lasts only a moment, then no one even looks at the toy. On reaching home, it will be broken and equal to nothing. Tongs are such a useful thing. Take rotis off the griddle, roast them in the fire. If someone asks for fire, quickly take it from the stove and give it to them. Poor Granny has no time to come to the market, and where would she get so much money? She burns her hands daily. Hamid's friends have moved ahead. They all are drinking sherbet at the chabil. Look, how greedy they all are. They took so many sweets, and no one gave me even one. Then they say, play with us. Do this work for us. Now, if someone asks me to do some work, I'll ask. Let them eat sweets, their mouths will rot, boils and pimples will erupt. Their tongues will become gluttonous. Then they'll steal money from home and get beaten. The book doesn't contain lies. Why should my tongue spoil? Amma will see the tongs and run to take them from my hands, saying, my child brought tongs for Amma. She will give thousands of blessings. Then she'll show it to the women in the neighborhood. The whole village will talk about it. Hamid brought tongs. What a good boy he is. Who will give blessings for their toys? The blessings of elders reach directly to Allah's court and are heard immediately. I don't have money. That's why Mohsin and Mahmood show their moods. I'll show them mood too. Play with toys and eat sweets. I won't play with toys. Why should I bear anyone's mood? I may be poor, but I don't go begging from anyone. After all, my father will come someday. My mother will come too. Then I'll ask these people, how many toys will you take? I'll give them baskets of toys and show them that this is how you treat friends. Not that you buy 1 paise worth of sesame sweets and then eat them teasingly. Everyone will laugh that Hamid bought tongs. Let them laugh, it's my concern. He asked the shopkeeper, how much is this tong? The shopkeeper looked at him and seeing no one with him, said, it's not of your use, boy. Hamid asked, is it for sale or not? The shopkeeper said, why wouldn't it be for sale? And why have you brought it here? Hamid said, then why don't you tell me, how much does it cost? The shopkeeper said, it will cost 6 paise. Hamid's heart sank. Then he said, tell me the exact price. The shopkeeper said, exactly 5 paise, take it if you want, otherwise leave. Hamid steeled himself and said, will you take 3 paise? Saying this, he moved on so as not to hear the shopkeeper's scolding. But the shopkeeper didn't scold. He called Hamid back and gave him the tongs. Hamid carried it on his shoulder as if it were a rifle, strutting proudly back to his companions. Let's listen, what all criticisms everyone has. Mohsin laughed and said, "Why did you bring this tong, you fool? What will you do with it?" Hamid slammed the tongs on the ground and said, "Just drop your water carrier on the ground. All his ribs will shatter, buddy." Mahmoud said, "So is this tong some kind of toy?" Hamid said, "Why isn't it a toy? I just put it on my shoulder, and it became a rifle. If I hold it in my hand, it becomes a fakir's tongs. If I want, I can use it as a pair of cymbals. If I add one tong, it would scare the life out of all your toys. No matter how hard your toys try, they can't even bend a hair on my tongs. My brave lion, the tong." Sammy had taken a tambourine. Impressed, he said, "Will you trade it for my tambourine? It costs 2 annas." Hamid looked at the tambourine with disdain and said, "My tongs could split your tambourine's belly. Just a piece of leather has been added, and it started sounding dhar dhar. If it gets a little water, it's finished. My brave tong can stand in fire, water, storm, and hurricane, always firmly." The tongs captivated everyone, but now who has the money left? Then they moved away from the fair. 9 o'clock had struck, the sun was getting hot. There was a hurry to reach home. Even if they begged their father, they couldn't get a tong. Hamid is very clever. That's why the rascal had saved his money. Now there were 2 groups of children, Mohsin, Mahmoud, Sami, and Noor on one side, and Hamid alone on the other. A debate was happening. Sami had become a heretic. He joined the other party, but Mohsin, Mahmoud, and Noor, even though they were 1 or 2 years older than Hamid, were intimidated by Hamid's attacks. He had the power of justice and the strength of policy. On one side was clay, and on the other, iron, which at this moment was calling itself steel. It was invincible, lethal. If a lion came, then Mr. Water Carrier's colors would run, Mr. Soldier would drop his clay rifle and flee, Lawyer Sahib's grandmother would die, he would hide his face in his robe and lie down on the ground. But this tong, this brave one, this Rustam of India would leap onto the lion's neck and gouge out its eyes. Hamid, putting in his last effort, said, "Will Mr. Water Carrier scold and then run to bring water and sprinkle it at the doorstep?" Mohsin was defeated, but Mahmoud provided support. "If uncle gets caught, then he'll roam bound in the court. Then they would fall at Lawyer Sahib's feet." Hamid couldn't respond to this strong argument. He asked, "Who will come to catch us?" Noor, standing tall, said, "This soldier with a rifle." Hamid mocked, "These poor things will catch us, the brave Rustam of India." "Okay, bring it on, let's have a wrestling match right now." Seeing its face from afar, they'd run away. What will they catch, poor things? Mohsin came up with a new taunt, "The mouth of your tongue will burn daily in the fire." He thought Hamid would be speechless, but this didn't happen. Hamid immediately responded, "Only the brave jump into the fire, sir. Your toys, all dressed up, where will they show such courage? You are afraid of even jumping from a rock, but my brave tongue isn't afraid of even Ravan." Such enthusiasm, such competition, hadn't been seen before. Now, back in the village, the road was empty. All the sugar from the sweets was finished. Those who had bought the sweets from the fair had finished them by now. It was almost the last leg of the journey. The tongue demands more, but where is the money? Now, they must reach home quickly. Here, they've reached the village. Hamid entered his house with the tongs. Amma saw and took the tongs from his hand. Her tears flowed with love. She said, "My son has brought a useful gift. Every day I prayed for some ease, and my son has fulfilled that. This tong will be useful for a long time, and every day it will remind me of my son's love." Her hands trembled with happiness. Then she kissed Hamid's forehead and said, "May God give you a long life, my child." This was the best Eid gift Hamid could have hoped for. His thoughtful gift not only solved a practical problem for his grandmother but also showed his deep love and care for her. This thoughtful act brought joy and pride to his grandmother, making this Eid truly memorable. The end.
This story was originally written by Premchand, a legendary author of Hindi literature almost 100 years ago. Do let us know if you like the story. If it so happens that you did not like the story, even then, Please let us know your choice so that we can find something you would like to listen. If you like the story, tell your friends as well. If you want to enjoy more stories like these from so many other Indian authors, subscribing the channel would make it easy. Bye for now.